Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I received over the last 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. All right, let's get started with this week's No Filter Q&A with question number 1. Nick, how do you put together a training program for someone? Do you focus on their weaker areas first, and are your programs different for men and women? So typically how I put together a customized training program for the individual I'm working with, regardless if it's a man or a woman, I base it on what their goals are. Okay. So if someone's telling me, for example, they want to enter a bodybuilding competition, well, I'm going to put together a training program that's structured towards getting them to a bodybuilding type physique. If it's someone I'm working with that wants to be a figure competitor, well, I'm going to put together a training program that is designed to get them to a figure physique, right? And if I'm working with someone who just wants to lose fat, build muscle, be healthy and fit, then I'm going to program accordingly for that individual's goals. Okay. So at the end of the day, what it just comes down to is putting together a program that is balanced and structured. So the workouts have to make sense. So if someone says realistically they can go to the gym 4 days a week, I'm going to give them a 4-day training split. If they tell me, hey, realistically, I can only get to the gym right now twice a week, well, then I'm going to give them a 2-day training split. So it really depends on what their goals are, what their lifestyle is like, what their fitness level is like, and realistically, how often can they get into the gym? And that's very important because I have a lot of times people will come to me and say, okay, I'd like you to design a 5-day training program for me, and I'll put something together for them. And then I find out, well, realistically, they're only going to the gym 3 times a week. So that program will not be effective for the individual that I've designed it for. So therefore, it's crucial that when designing a program, that you customize it for the person that you're working with. Now, do I design programs differently for men and versus women? Some exercises, yes, but for the most part, the program pretty much will stay the same as far as the structure and the balance is concerned. But yes, sometimes I will focus on, for example, if I'm working with a woman, I might give them more barbell hip thrusts, right? More straight leg deadlifts, right? More exercises that focus on the gluteus maximus, gluteus minimus versus the quadriceps, hamstrings, and calves. Whereas a guy, for example, I might give more volume for a chest workout, right? Typically, men like to focus more on the pectoralis major and minor versus women, but I will still give chest exercises to women as well. I just might not give as much volume, right? So it really depends not just on the gender, but on the individual's goals, their lifestyle, their level of fitness, but that's really what it comes down to. And realistically, how often can they get to the gym? Because it's great if you're all gung-ho at the very beginning, you want a 5-day training split, but if you know realistically you're only going to be in the gym 2-3 days a week, that training split's not going to work for you. Okay. So that's where it comes to working with a experienced, knowledgeable coach that can take you to the next level based on what you have available to you in your gym. Or if you're working with myself or one of our trainers, what we have available in our gym and how often you're going to be in that gym, how long you can be in the gym with us or on your own for as well. Okay. So that's how I put together a customized training program. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. What's the craziest thing you have ever seen happen in the gym over the years? I've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen in the gyms over the years. I've walked in on people having sex in the gym. I actually walked in on people having sex in the gym on multiple occasions. Well, at least 3 to 4 come to mind right now, and different people. So not the same couple. I've unfortunately seen someone die in the gym, and that was a client of mine a few years ago, and that was really scary to see. And I've talked about that in the past with one of my blogs, and I've talked about it on this channel. So I have seen that happen as well. I've seen someone get arrested in the gym. I saw the cops come in one day and actually arrest someone while they were working out with their training partner. So that was a pretty crazy thing. What else have I seen? I've seen people inject steroids in the washrooms in the gym. Well, I should say men. I've seen men inject steroids in the washroom of the gym. I'm sure there's been women doing it too, but I don't hang out in the women's washroom. But one of the gyms I used to train at back in the early 2000s, people were openly using steroids. I mean, they would even throw them in the garbage, the needles in the garbage afterwards. They had to get a sign saying, do not dispose your syringes in the garbage, because it was happening so often. So I saw a lot of that going on as well. So I've seen a lot of crazy shit in the gyms over the years: sex, death, people using drugs, people selling drugs, people getting arrested. So I've seen a lot, but I've been working in gyms now for over 20 years. So you're bound to see some things. Nothing really crazy though that comes to mind with my own clients. Like I haven't seen anything that's like absurd. I've seen, wardrobe malfunctions before on both men and women. That happens. I mean, that's happened to me before, actually. So that's another crazy thing that's happened is sometimes, I'm training a woman and, a sports bra might come up doing a certain exercise, or training a guy and all of a sudden they split their shorts. That's happened before as well. But, I'm thinking about now, and the craziest thing I've ever seen in the gym, and, viewer discretion is advised here, but I didn't accidentally, but my training partner accidentally took a shit in the squat rack one time. True story. We were squatting and we were getting ready for a show, and I'm not going to name the training partner because I don't want to embarrass him, but we were just in the middle of a set and I was spotting him, and all of a sudden I heard what I thought was like a fart. And then all of a sudden he was squatting down, he came back up and he's like, oh shit. And I was like, you okay? He's like, yeah. And he went down again and I heard the same noise. And all of a sudden an actual stool came out of his short pocket, like the shorts, the bottom of his shorts, I should say. So it was pretty funny actually, because fortunately we were the only two in the gym at the time, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But he finished his set, which I thought was fucking hilarious, because he was taking a shit in the squat rack and he still finished his set. So good for him. I didn't spot him though. I walked away from that. But I think that's probably the craziest thing that I've ever seen in the gym. Someone taking a shit in the squat rack. Fortunately, it wasn't too messy. He cleaned it up and we continued. But yeah, that's the definition of hardcore, right? People say blood, sweat, and tears, but no one talks about taking a shit and continuing. So taking a shit mid-set and finishing your set, that's hardcore. So that's probably the craziest thing I think I've seen in my 20 plus years of working in gyms. Someone taking a shit in the squat rack. All right. Next question. Hey, Nick, looking back over the last 3 years, would you have done anything differently with regards to how you handled COVID-19 as a business owner or individual person? Okay. As a business owner, no. So what I was operating on was just the information that I was given, right? And at the time it was keep everyone socially distanced, everyone wear masks, keep the gym at limited numbers, make sure that everyone is spaced out. So my whole mindset going into COVID-19 was to keep the business running to the best of my ability. And I mentioned this before, if the government had said to me, we need you to put on a pink dress and go to work, I would have done it. Because whatever it was to keep the business going, that wasn't detrimental towards other people, right? So as long as I wasn't putting other people at risk, I was okay with it. So I wasn't really pro masks. I wasn't against masks. I wasn't really fighting with the anti-vaxxers, but nor was I against people who were getting vaccinated, right? I tried to stay on the sidelines to the best of my ability. I wanted to support our healthcare workers, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure that we were able to operate our business. Now, obviously, we weren't able to operate business as usual, so we had to make a few compromises along the way. I did lose a few clients along the way, mainly because a lot of people were upset that the vaccination mandate came into play. But, that was out of our hands. Like most businesses, you couldn't go to gyms unless you had your vaccination shot, right? You had to show the card. So when that came out, most of my clients were compliant with that, but there were a few that pushed back. So fortunately, we lost a few people because of that. Fortunately, a lot of those people came back though after that the vaccination mandate was lifted. So that was fine, right? But I really tried my best to just operate on the information I was given. And really it was coming down to supporting our healthcare workers, making sure that we were keeping people safe as possible and trying to run the business to the best of my ability. So I don't really have any regrets because, it's easy to say in hindsight, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. But again, if you're operating on just the information you're given at the time, you just have to make those choices and hope that they're the best choices to make, not just for yourself on a personal level, but for others around you. So that was the mindset I went with going into COVID-19. And, I can't really think of any real regrets I have I said, I really stood my ground on supporting the healthcare workers. I really wanted to keep numbers low in the gym. And fortunately, we didn't have any COVID outbreaks at our gym. So we were really lucky with that. People were really respectful, though. People wore their masks. People socially distanced. We didn't do group classes. We kept it to private partners. We had limited trainers on the floor at any given time. So we really tried our best to keep things as safe as possible, given the information that we were provided. So I don't think I would change anything. Hopefully we don't have to go through another pandemic in my lifetime. Unfortunately, we most likely will. But if we do, I'm hoping that we will be better prepared. I know I definitely will, especially with business, because there were a few things that I wish from a business level that I had in line for the pandemic, like the online training component with our Zoom workouts. That's something that I should have had in place long before the pandemic, right? Make my online programs widely accessible to everyone. Start my online coaching app prior to the pandemic. One of the reasons I started my online coaching app was because of the pandemic. So a lot of the things that came out of the pandemic, I should have been doing prior. So kind of put a fire under my ass as a business owner to get myself organized for the next pandemic or for any next natural disaster that occurs or might interrupt business, right? So hopefully I am more prepared this time around, but that would probably be my only regret, that I wasn't prepared on a business scale with a lot of our, not a lot, but a few of our personal training services that we could have offered to clients beforehand. All right. Hi, Nick. What do you think about F45 training? I think it's a gimmick. I think it's a fad. I put it up there with CrossFit, Orange Theory. I don't think it's anything special, really. I see a lot of injuries coming out of the F45 training now. I've had a few clients come to me over the years who have actually done the F45 training and have been injured. And, you know, it's the same thing I say about CrossFit. I don't really have a problem with CrossFit or even F45 or Orange Theory. I have a problem with these large group classes with one instructor. You're doing very complex ballistic movements. When you only have one instructor for, let's say, 10, 15, 20 students, how is that one instructor supposed to correct form and technique? It's impossible. You can't do it. So this is my problem with group classes that have CrossFit, the F45, and the Orange Theory, is that you're doing very complex movements. It's not like a yoga class where everyone's doing the same movement and following the same flow. That I see no problem with. If you have 30 people in a yoga class, sure, why not? But when you're doing movements that require a lot of concentration and a lot of heavy weight and a lot of reps and a lot of ballistic movements, you're asking for an injury if there's no one actually correcting form or technique. Okay, so that's the problem I have with these classes. Okay, and to me, it's a money grab. So I don't think there's anything special. I don't think, wow, you got to try this class. And there's people that love these classes because it gets them going, right? Gets their adrenaline going, right? Gives them energy. They love the atmosphere of the gym. And that's great. For a lot of people, that's great, especially for people who know how to lift. But if you're a beginner and you're new to weightlifting, I strongly advise you not to join one of these classes. You really should be working with a personal trainer who can teach you how to do proper form and technique on not just a few, but all of these exercises. So that means working with a CrossFit coach prior to joining a CrossFit class, or an F45 trainer prior to privately prior to joining a class, then do that. And I don't even know if they even offer that, but they should, because right now it's just a money grab. Get as many people as you can in class after class after class. And this is where injuries happen. So yes, there's a reason why a lot of these classes are cheap, right? Because you're not getting the same instruction you would get in a small group class like we offer. I know shameless plug in here, but our small group classes, we never go more than 8 to 10 people. That's the max, never more than that. And the reason why is I strongly believe that it's impossible for an instructor, even myself, who's been doing this for 20 years, to supervise and correct form and perfect technique of 10 plus individuals in a class. So when new clients come to work with us, I don't advise them to join a group class. I encourage them to do some private sessions, at least 6 private sessions. Yes, you're going to pay more, but you're going to get more out of those sessions, because once you come to a group class, you'll know how to do those exercises correctly. So you won't get left behind and you won't injure yourself. Right? There's a reason why group classes cost less, because you're not getting that same level of service. You're not getting that same level of instruction. And that's okay. I'm not bashing group classes. I'm just saying the large group classes of 20 plus people, To me, it's a waste of money. You're better off just go to a commercial gym, really. Unless you're someone who's well-versed in the exercises and you've been doing this for years and you're just looking to go and join a class because you want to get the extra energy from the class, the atmosphere itself, and you just like going to the gym, you like the instructors, then fine, do it. But for someone who's a beginner or even intermediate, I strongly advise you stay away from those classes. Work with an instructor one-on-one, join small group classes that have no more than 8 to 10 people. Doesn't have to be one of our classes, but again, look for small group classes because you'll get way more out of those classes than you ever will from a large group class. All right. Nick, I'm doing dry January, but I've been having trouble sleeping since I stopped drinking. Is there anything I can do to help myself sleep better without drinking? Well, good for you for doing dry January. And yeah, you don't want to self-medicate yourself to sleep by consuming alcohol, right? That's a vicious cycle. And I find actually when I drink that I fall asleep, no problem, but I also find that I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep. That's for me personally. That's why I really don't like drinking, because I find, again, it puts me to sleep, but I have a really hard time sleeping. My quality of sleep is not very good. And I've talked to quite a few clients over the years and they've experienced the same thing, which is a lot of people I work with don't like to drink on a regular basis. Now, in your case, I can't tell you the reason why this is happening, although I imagine it's just because your body has become so dependent on the alcohol that it's no longer getting it. So it can't relax, right? It can't allow itself to sleep. It needs that it can't self-medicate itself. It needs to go to sleep with the alcohol, right? So I imagine that's the reason why you're having trouble sleeping, is just because you've taken something away that was a crutch and now you no longer have that crutch. So in my experience, when you're dealing with things that were helping you, whether it was helping you curb your appetite or helping you lift heavier weights or helping you sleep better, when you take that crutch away, it just takes time until your body can actually just go back to doing what it does naturally and allow those cortisol levels to drop at night to allow your body to sleep, right? And I know it's annoying, but what I would say to you is, instead of just going for dry January, maybe go for dry February and March as well. Extend this, right? And then once you go back to drinking, instead of drinking, if you are drinking already every day, cut it back to 2 times a week, once a week, right? Preferably on a day where the next day you don't have to get up too early. So even if you don't get the best quality of sleep, at least you can sleep in the next day, right? So that's what I'd recommend. But honestly, in my experience, when it comes to stuff like this, it's just a waiting game and you just have to wait it out. So, we're in the 3rd week of January now. So I would say give it another week or two, and you'll probably notice that your body just starts to relax and allow yourself to readjust to a normal sleep pattern, right? And, they do say it does take 21 days to develop a habit. And I strongly believe that. So give your body those 21 days plus in this case, and see how it goes. And if it doesn't get better, you might want to talk to your doctor about going on some sleep aids just for the time being, just to help you sleep, because sleep is so important. And it's not just the amount of sleep you get, but it's the quality you get, right? So even if you're like me and you only sleep for 5-6 hours a night, as long as it's good quality sleep, that's what's important, right? You can sleep 8 to 9 hours, but if it's not good quality, you're not going into an REM. You're not going to really feel rested the next day. So quality is more important than quantity when it comes to sleep. Okay, so that's what I would do. I would wait it out for another 2-3 weeks. And if it doesn't get better, you might want to talk to your doctor about taking some sleep aids. You can go to natural newt with some melatonin. Okay, that helps some people. Melatonin never really worked well for me, but I know some people swear by it. So you can give that a shot. I'm always for trying the natural route first before going down the pharmaceutical route. But, if it's really affecting your sleep, that's something you have to take action on, because if you're lacking sleep, your cortisol levels are going to be high. You can risk all kinds of hormonal damage. You're going to be fatigued all day. You're going to be lethargic, moody. It's going to affect your workouts. It's going to affect your libido. It's going to affect your appetite. So sleep is crucial. So don't let it go too long, but definitely don't go back to relying on alcohol to help you sleep. Okay. Hi, Nick. What do you tell your clients that say they don't have time to work out? I tell them it's bullshit. You always have time to work out. There are 24 hours in a day. Okay. A 1 hour workout, what is that? 6% of your day? It's nothing. Okay. So it's like, how can you not have time to work out? You just don't want to make the time to work out. And that's the hard truth. A lot of people don't want to hear that. They want to say, I got to work. I've got kids. I got all this. It's bullshit. You have time. Okay. You do. You either have to wake up an hour earlier or you go to sleep an hour earlier, right? Maybe you don't take a lunch break, right? It's like, these are things, maybe you cut back on watching 3 hours of TV at night, right? You always have time. And the reason I know this is because I have clients who are owners of very, very big companies, and yet they still find the time to come in and work out. And these are people who are working 16, 18 hours a day, and yet they still have time to come see myself or one of the trainers for a 1 hour workout. I have a lot of people that say, well, it's not just 1 hour, you got to go to the gym and go back. I'm like, fine, 90 minutes out of your day. Wake up an hour early, wake up an hour and a half early, you go to sleep an hour and a half early. There's ways around this. Okay. I promise you, there's no one that's busy for 24 hours a day. So you can definitely plug in a workout. So unfortunately, I have a lot of people that don't say that to me anymore because they know my stance and they know I'll call them on it right away. I'll say it's bullshit. You're being lazy. And just admit that, just admit to yourself, I'm being lazy. I don't want to prioritize my health. I don't want to prioritize my fitness, and that's fine. But don't say you don't have time, because that's a lame excuse. Okay. What you should just replace that with and say, no, I'm lazy. I don't want to prioritize my health. I don't want to prioritize my fitness. I am lazy. Period. That's it. That's what it comes down to. And, maybe by you telling yourself that, you'll be like, I don't really want to feel like that, or I don't really want to look like this. I'm not happy with having a belly. I'm not happy with having to catch my breath when I go up a flight of stairs. If aesthetics are not your motivating factor, which I always tell people they shouldn't be your only motivating factor, but just internally how you feel and the energy you feel, that should be enough to get you into the gym. But if it's not, then you've got a problem, because you're not thinking long-term. Because if you're willing to sacrifice your health and your fitness when you're young, you're going to pay for it when you're older. So what is that quote? They say those that don't make time for fitness now will make time for sickness later. And that's so true, right? And I don't know if I'm quoting that exactly, but it's something like that, right? And that's so true, because I can tell you right now, I have a lot of people that have come to work for me over the years who the first time entering the gym, they're in their 60s or they're in their 70s. And the only reason they're coming to work with me is because now they've had a health scare. Whether it was a heart attack, whether it was a stroke, whether they're getting arthritis, tendonitis, bursitis, whether they're having chronic fatigue. And I never tell someone it's too late, because I never want to discourage someone from going to the gym. But it's a hell of a lot harder starting your exercise and your fitness journey when you're in your 60s and 70s than when you're in your 30s or even your 40s. Okay. So you need to make time for the gym. You need to make time for your health. You need to make time for your fitness, because if you don't, you're going to pay for it in the long run. All right. Okay. Nick, do you ever get discouraged training people who don't make changes outside the gym with their diet and lifestyle, and therefore don't make much progress with their physical fitness? No, because here's the thing. Everyone's an adult. So when it comes to dietary and nutrition, I don't even give people advice unless they ask me. So if I have a client that's working with me and he or she is happy with their diet and they want to eat burgers and fries and go binge drinking on the weekends, I don't say a thing. The only thing I will say is to them in the gym, I'm like, you're doing great. You're lifting heavier weights. You've actually put on some muscle size, but you could probably lift even heavier weights. You could probably take fewer rest periods. The muscle you have would be more defined, more dense, more lean if you just switched up your diet a little bit and changed your eating habits. And, by telling people these little things, then they'll be like, a lot of times they're like, well, tell me more. And people want to know, right? And some people don't. Some people like, no, I'm just coming to the gym because I don't want to put on any more weight. I'm like, okay, fair enough. If that's your reason that you're coming to the gym because you don't want to put on any more weight, or you don't want to become more unhealthy, fine. But I always tell people, when you go to the gym and you're working out and your diet's not in check, it's like one step forward, one step back. So you're plateauing the entire time. You're not going to make any significant changes with your physique. Yes, it's good that you're going to the gym for sure. But if you're not willing to change your diet, at least 70 to 80% clean for the most part, you're not going to make really any significant changes. You won't. Like I said, you will put on some muscle because you're going to lift weights. Of course, you're going to put on some muscle. You are going to improve your cardiovascular endurance because you are exercising. You're getting your heart rate up. But you could magnify those things if you were to clean up your diet and focus on getting in more lean proteins, more complex carbohydrates, more healthy fats, taking out the trans fats, taking out the saturated fats, taking out the simple carbohydrates, right? Taking out the fatty proteins. I don't mean the good fatty proteins. I mean the bad fatty proteins, like the ribeye steaks, for example, right? Like that's food we don't want. So it really comes down to, and I mentioned this last week on the channel, it's not 80% diet, 20% training, it's 50-50. Okay. So if you only have one and you don't have the other, all you're doing is you're stepping forward and you're stepping back. So every time you step in the gym, as soon as you go out there and you shit your bed on your diet, you're just stepping back again. So you're not getting any worse, but you're not getting any better. So, and if that's fine and you're okay with the status quo, keep doing what you're doing. But it doesn't bother me because I'm just happy that people are still taking at least an interest in working on themselves, improving themselves to any degree. And going to the gym, you know, even if it is one step forward, one step back, at least you're not making yourself any worse. So it doesn't discourage me. Everyone's got their own goals. I have people that work with me just because they don't want to put on any more weight. That's their only reason. They don't care about taking off weight. They just don't want to put on any more weight, right? They don't want their doctor lecturing them anymore that their blood pressure is too high or that their cholesterol levels are too high. They want to kind of fix that through exercise. And some people just aren't ready to fix their diets yet. Diet is the hardest component when it comes to the overall fitness component of what you're trying to accomplish with your health and your physique, right? Because anyone can go to the gym. I know some people don't like to go to the gym, but anyone can go to the gym, right? But it's very hard to stay disciplined on your diet because diet is, you're the only one that can control what you put in your mouth. If you're going to the gym and you have a trainer or you have a group class that you belong to, at least you have that accountability. When it comes to diet, you have to hold yourself accountable. And that's hard for a lot of people. But it doesn't discourage me. I'm there to do a job, and I will always give every single client that works with me my utmost amount of undivided attention and energy, and I will try my best to give them the most out of every workout they come to. And if they want more information on dietary nutrition, of course, they can use me as a resource. All right. Next question. Hi, Nick. You mentioned last week on your Q&A that you haven't taken a day off from training since New Year's Eve. Wouldn't this be considered overtraining? No. Here's the thing with overtraining. I don't believe in the generic overtraining that everyone talks about. I don't believe in it. I do believe in overtraining. And here's what I believe would be overtraining. Going to the gym and going in the squat rack and squatting the exact same weight, heavy weight, 3-4 times a week. That to me is overtraining. Okay, you're overtraining your lower body. You're overtraining your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes. But if you're going to the gym with a structured, balanced program, like I mentioned in the first question, you wouldn't be going into the squat rack 3-4 times a week. You would have a training split that you'd follow. So in my case, my day 1 would be a chest workout. My day 2 would be a back workout. My day 3 would be a shoulder workout. My day 4 would be an arm workout. And my day 5 would be a leg workout. And then if I feel like by day 6, I can go back and do the chest workout again, why not? It's been 5 days since I've done it. So it's not overtraining that muscle group, right? So again, if I were to go in and start bench pressing 5 days a week, yeah, that's overtraining. But I think what's happened is everyone is so afraid of overtraining now. And the reality is people are not trained enough. So I feel great. I have a lot of energy. I'm sleeping perfect. I have high libido. Like I feel great training 7 days a week right now. The only reason I took New Year's Eve off was I was having some stomach issues. So I didn't go to the gym. But if I wasn't having no stomach issues, I guarantee you I would have been in the gym. So when it comes to overtraining, what I've always done is I've listened to my body. If I really don't feel like training today, if I just feel like, I'm just exhausted, I won't train. But if I feel like, I'm just wussing out and I'm like, I just don't feel like training because I just don't feel like doing it. I just don't want to do it. I have no valid excuse. I'm not tired. I'm not sore. I just don't want to do it. I'll force myself to do it. Okay. Because after like the first 5-10 minutes, I'm good. I'm in the zone. I'm ready to go. I'm enjoying the workout. And again, because my workouts are only 40 to 45 minutes out of a 24-hour day, I would not consider that to be overtraining. Again, what is that? 4-6% of my day. So it's not overtraining. Okay. Again, I'm not saying overtraining doesn't exist. It's as long as you're putting together though a structured and balanced program, it's very difficult to overtrain. People will argue and say, well, your central nervous system. Well, your central nervous system will be fine as long as you're getting adequate amounts of sleep. You're resting, you're making sure that your body's hydrated and you're practicing proper nutrition. You're not going to overtrain. You're not. So this whole concept of overtraining is, in my opinion, it's been blown out of proportion. Okay. And I think people need to train more. People need to train harder. Okay. You don't just, you can't just expect to have great results if you're only putting half-assed work. And that's if anything in life, right? You can't grow a multi-million-dollar business if you're only willing to work on it 2-3 hours a day, 3-4 days a week. You got to be grinding. You got to be working your ass off to grow that business. So the same thing with your physique. You want to grow your physique. You want to magnify your results. You got to be in the gym busting your ass. You got to be on there with your diet. No, you don't have to be on the diet 24/7. And no, you don't have to be in the gym 7 days a week. But you don't have to be so afraid of overtraining or overworking. And I really think that's the problem in today's society. People don't work enough. People don't work hard enough. People don't train enough. You have to work. Do not be afraid of work. Work is good for you. It builds character. So if anything, I would say don't worry about overtraining. Worry more about undertraining and start training more, but just train smart. Put together a structured, balanced program. All right. Last question. Okay. Hey, Nick, I met a girl on Tinder. We set up a day and time to meet, and then the next day we added one another on Instagram. She canceled on me later that day, and she told me that my dedication to my body, diet, and training is too much and obsessive. I feel oddly offended by this, as I don't feel I spend my entire life in the gym. Have you ever had this happen to you? I don't feel like I have to defend myself, but I'm pissed. I'd have to see your Instagram. I mean, if you're taking a bunch of shirtless selfies and you're constantly videotaping, or sorry, not videotaping, recording yourself in the gym doing exercises, unless you yourself are in the fitness industry and this is how you promote your business and your brand, I too would think that might be a bit too much. You know, I've mentioned in the past how I'm not really attracted to girls who post numerous photos of themselves in bikinis, right? That's really not my thing. Okay, so it's not that it's too much for me. It's just that I'm not attracted to it. So maybe the words that this person used, obsessive and too much, were the wrong wording, right? Wrong verbiage to use. But it can be intimidating for someone who is maybe either not into the gym or doesn't go to the gym as often to see someone who is like super muscular, super fit. It can be quite intimidating for the person to see that and just be like, you know, maybe that person has a lot of vanity, right? Maybe they're very vain. So to the outside person who doesn't really go to the gym or doesn't go to the gym every day, they might be looking at that and saying, yeah, that is too much for me. I want to be with someone who has a balanced lifestyle. So I would have to see your Instagram. I know with my Instagram, I mean, it's all gym. It's like the gym threw up all over my Instagram, but it's also my business. It's my brand. The gym is not my life. Yes, I work in a gym. Yes, I do online training. And yes, I train like 7 days a week, but the gym is not my life. But on Instagram, if you go on my Instagram account, it looks as if it's my life. But I like to keep my private life private. So I don't put my private life all over Instagram. That's some things a lot of people ask me sometimes. How come I don't share what's going on in my personal life? Well, I'm like, well, it's a business account. So why would I share what's going on in my personal life? Anyone who's in my personal circle knows what's going on in my personal life, right? So I keep Instagram for business. That's just me. Now, another way is if I'm looking at someone who is healthy and fit, in shape, I don't necessarily think that's too much. You know, if they're posting photos with their friends and they're at the beach or something, that I don't mind. I don't care, woman or man, like whatever. And you're in great shape. I look at that and go, wow, that's dedication. That's hard work. That person has built a physique and knows what it's like to suffer, right? That person knows what it's like to be self-disciplined. So I'm actually attracted to that. Okay. Now I'm not attracted to the thirsty, bend over in the mirror and take a selfie. That doesn't attract me, no. But if someone's had like a huge transformation with their physique, and I mentioned this before, I will definitely give that a like. I'll even comment on it because that to me is very motivating and inspiring. So when I see someone who's, lost 30 pounds or lost 50 pounds and had a physique transformation, that to me is inspiring, right? And it shows me that person has what it takes to practice self-discipline and is willing to go the extra mile, right? And won't just give into short-term gratification, right? They want to focus on long-term satisfaction. So again, I'd have to see your Instagram because I'll tell you what, there's both men and women that I followed over the years, and I'll unfollow them because it's constant thirsty behavior, looking for that validation. Look at me in a bikini, right, with the women, or look at me, another selfish shirt selfie, another selfless, shirtless selfie, a shirtless selfie from the guys, right? So it's too much. That to me is too much. I'm like, do you have anything else? Are you just a one-dimensional person that all you care about is your physique, your physical appearance? Like I said, if it's your brand, your business, you're in the fitness industry, I get it. You do you. But even myself, I mean, I'm not out there posting shirtless selfies every day. And whenever I have done one, I usually am mocking it, right? So I just don't feel like I need that validation from strangers. I don't need it, you know? So it really comes down to A, what you're looking for in a partner, and B, what you're putting out there. Because again, yeah, if you are putting out thirst trap photos, you're probably not going to attract the type of person that you might want to attract. But at the same time, I wouldn't tell someone to stop working out or stop taking care of their body because, you know, it's too much for someone else. Well, if it's too much for someone else, then find someone else. Who cares? You know, find someone that also likes going to the gym or wants to take care of his or her body. That's what I would do. I wouldn't worry about it. So, no, it hasn't happened to me. I think because at the end of the day, most people who I've hung out with knows that my Instagram is for business, and I rarely, if ever, post anything of my personal life on my Instagram or social media in general. And so they understand that I'm trying to promote my brand, my company. I'm in the fitness industry. So of course, there's going to be photos of myself, videos of myself in the gym, of my nutritional plans, so my training programs, because that's what I'm promoting. So again, I'd have to see your Instagram. Anyway, that's it for this week's No Filter Q&A. This episode will be going up on Tuesday, January the 23rd. As a reminder, if you have any questions with regards to your training program, nutritional plan, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can email me your questions DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting my business. Thank you for supporting our YouTube channel, my online coaching app, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now.